Somebody needs to get a tattoo.
You should get one that says emotional juice.
Toilet tattoo. Toilet games tattoo. Toilet games for life.
Emotional juice.
Started seriously thinking about getting a calf tattoo after that one.
And welcome to episode 29 of Rather Be Playing, the podcast where we talk about how you'd rather be playing games than getting a text from your wife telling you that she rear-ended someone in Chicago traffic. I'm Josh.
Ouch. I'm Elliot.
And I'm Stevo.
Yeah, I was out for work and my wife was driving the kids across the country back home to Pennsylvania, and she's like, so I rear-ended someone in Chicago traffic and your car is damaged, so it needs some body work. I haven't heard back if it's like if the radiator's broken or cracked or something, or if it's just coolant leaking somehow, or I don't know what the damage.
No, so she had to leave the car there and everything?
So it took so we needed to get towed. So they stayed the night in Chicago because they had to. And then it didn't get towed to it got towed to a place, but it didn't get towed to the body shop or the repair shop for 3 more days.
They kept just sitting there on the side of the road. Oh, okay.
No.
Got towed to one side. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And she kept calling him yeah, we'll take care of it in the morning. And then they would never do it. And she'd call up saying, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Our tow truck guy's just been sitting here doing nothing all day. I'm like, drive the fucking thing to the repair shop. Because I don't know, something weird going on with insurance and the repair shop and all that. But
wait, so have you got it back from Chicago yet?
No, she had to get a rental car and she drove ahead.
I'm so confused.
Oh my God.
So she's driving back across the country at the end of the month. So there's no rush it needs to be done right now. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. She has the rental car and our bank will pay for the rental car for the length of the time the car's in the shop. So there's not really a rush so long as that it's done before she drives back.
Okay, the way you were talking about it when we were chatting to you yesterday, I thought you were waiting for the car.
No,
wherever you were.
Oh no, I was just getting new tires put on my wife's car.
Ah, okay. Very confusing. These mechanical disasters.
Yeah,
all at the same time.
Well, that wasn't a disaster so much as it just needed to happen. And Portland doesn't have the sales tax on it, so that's why I did it when I was down there.
Oh,
smart man.
God, that's right. You've got a tax-free state right next to you.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. The nicest thing I have is if I go the next state over, which is literally a 1-minute drive, I get my gas pumped for me.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that in Oregon too. As I was leaving my work there, I was stopped for gas and got out, and the guy standing there, and I said to him, I was like, "Oh right, I'm in Oregon," and then I gave him my card.
Yeah, yeah. The first couple of times it takes some getting used to. It's do you tip? Do you? But
they get paid. I don't think you actually tip them.
No, you don't. I learned that later. But then I got this one time, actually the very last time I did it, the guy started washing my windshield. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, now do I tip? I
didn't have any cash. The world is so confusing, Elliot. How are you meant to handle it?
Yeah. No one's ever done that before. I always get my gas filled in New Jersey because it's cheaper there, and it's like I said, it's literally I think the closest gas stations to me are in New Jersey.
Right.
And it's always been the same system every time. And this guy breaks the rules. He was new there, and I didn't tip him. I didn't see anyone else tipping him. I just didn't have any cash on me. But I don't know. You're not supposed to do that shit.
Yeah.
Maybe someone can write in and tell us the proper etiquette for whether you're allowed to tip gas station attendants or not in New Jersey.
In New Jersey, if they go above and beyond, do you tip them?
Yeah.
Right in. So just to end this story real quick, your car is in Chicago. Your wife is going to be in Pennsylvania for a month.
She dropped the kids off in Pennsylvania. She's down in Maryland with my parents.
She's with your parents?
Yep.
Cool. And then you're going there to visit her, and then we're going to try and record a live podcast. Is that right?
Yes.
But you're driving all the way back?
I'm not. No, she is.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I'm flying back. Well, our nephew got his permit, so he helps out a little bit now.
Oh, cool.
It's a little scary on the turns, but
so
any
what? Sorry. One last question. So this is news. Like we talked about every other thing besides this shit before the podcast. But so are the kids there for good or just for the summer?
Just for the summer. They'll come back.
Okay.
Her. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, they're coming back with her?
Yes. No, they're going to walk.
Ask more questions, Elliot.
I thought you would like fly them out at the end of summer.
Why would I mention that he has a permit if they weren't driving with her?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
So, any mechanical failures in your life? Steve, how's your back?
It's doing pretty good at the moment, actually. It's been holding up. You know, the summer has been testing it a little bit. A lot to do. Outdoors, run the bat. Actually, I'm going to the opening game of the DC United
That's
stadium
so cool.
this evening. Sorry, we're recording on a Saturday. I know we shouldn't time travel, but I'm just going to throw it out there. We haven't watched the World Cup final yet. That's going to be after we record this. But yeah.
It's a day.
Oh, they have a new stadium, don't they?
Yeah, brand new DC United Stadium. They also have Wayne Rooney playing for them, which I'm very conflicted about. Obviously, him being a former Everton and England footballer, and me being an Ireland and Liverpool fan, that causes me some distress that he's playing for a local team over here.
Don't forget Man United.
Oh, God, yeah, United, even worse. Well, that's bad, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I guess I'll applaud him if he scores from 50 yards. And at all other times, I'll try not to boo. Did we already have this conversation? This feels like deja vu to me.
No,
not about Wayne. About Wayne Rooney, at least not on the cast.
We talked a lot of sports, but
this is I'm getting a serious sense of deja vu.
Just enjoy the fact that England lost today.
Yeah. In fairness, they got as far as I was okay with them getting to.
They're going home.
Just shy of anything recognizable.
Yeah.
Just not in a final. If they had got into the final, I would have felt so sick and worried that they could potentially win it and we would never hear the end of it again. But at least tomorrow I get to cheer on Croatia against the old enemy. That is the old enemy since 2009, France. Come on, Croatia.
I don't really hate France, but I do like underdogs, so I'm definitely going for Croatia.
Yeah, and Modric and Mandzukic and Perisic, there are a lot of good players. You know, we might see a few nice goals. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'll watch the game and hop on my plane then.
As I've said, I have France winning it all in a pool that I'm doing with my friends in Chicago.
Have you got the chance of winning it?
Yeah. Well, so I think
someone already won. Somebody is
goes on points. Yeah. So someone else is like someone had Russia and. There's some other team that just like had a bunch of 5-goal games, you know, and so they're way ahead. There's no chance of catching up. But
Belgium, England scored a lot of goals.
Might have been. They definitely had England. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this is the most boring Golden Boot winner we've ever had.
Yeah, 3 penalties.
Unless someone on France or Croatia has like an 8-goal game. Yeah. Harry Kane is.
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot of England shade being thrown here, isn't there?
I don't really hate England. They didn't play well, but they have the one guy that scored the most goals, and it's just like I said, it's just the most boring Golden Boot presentation that'll ever happen in the world.
Yeah, so weird.
I was kind of hoping Lukaku might come out and score a hat-trick today. 3 amazing goals, one with the left foot, one with the right foot, one with the head, you know, the perfect hat-trick, and then take it, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Lads.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It has. A good World Cup.
As far as my thing, all I wanted to say as far as my summer, I have been catching up slowly on the Same Team Y'all podcast.
Nice.
Our friends over there are maybe not sister cast, but like cousin cast.
Brother ladies.
Yeah.
Now we're brother ladies.
Cute cousin.
Yeah, kissing cousin. No,
you guys can do that.
Hey, podcasts can do what they want to do. They're
might have to cut this all out. Sorry, Elliot. Where were you going?
You've probably heard us talk about them if you're been listening to us a while, but if you're new, then yeah, they're a good bunch of people. Eric and Tess host the podcast. They're librarians that just want to make the world a better place, and they spread positivity. And Stevo, you were a guest host on there a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, I'm catching up. So like, I don't listen to podcasts as regularly as I want, and when I do, I'm pretty much just catching up on Same Team Y'all. So I'm just about there. And in this latest episode that I'm in the middle of, Eric mentioned that he has stopped eating meat 2 months ago. He's just like doing this huge dietary change. And I just wanted to give a shout out because that's amazing, because I've also stopped eating meat as of like 6 months now.
No way, man. 6 months? Not at all.
Yeah, nothing. Although I accidentally had a ham sandwich in Montreal. Didn't mean to do it.
How did that happen? You read the menu wrong? You forgot your French?
Jambon, I think that's spinach, right? Yeah, let me get that.
It was a coffee shop croissant. And I wanted the cheese one, and there was ham as well. And I was 3/4 the way through it before I realized it. So I finished it, and then I was like,
"So you're divorced now?"
So it was harrowing, but it was fine. But other than that, I haven't had any meat in a while, and I heard Eric was doing it, and it's not always the easiest thing. Like if you can just control, everything you eat is something that you cook, and you cook at home. It's totally easy to do.
Yeah.
But when you're being social and you're going out, it's hard to stick with it. So
if you ever get
challenged by that, Eric, think of me. I'm doing the struggle too, but I'm keeping with it, and I'll think of you.
It's really funny you say that though, because I actually, anytime I cook at home, I cook completely just vegetables, all plant-based at home. Yeah, just because it's easier. Like you just need olive oil and herbs and whatever kind of vegetables you're using, and beans and whatever. So I don't keep. Well, I guess I have milk for coffee, so that's a bit of a cheat.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't use butter or meat or cheese at home.
Holy shit!
But then lunchtimes and stuff. I'm not religious about it in any way, but it's just when I'm cooking at home, I try to cook healthy.
So I should just clarify that, like, when I cook for myself, I try to be totally plant-based. When Amy cooks, she'll usually at least be vegetarian. And when I go out and there's no better options, I will eat fish. So like at worst, I'm pescatarian. At best, I'm like partially plant-based. But I feel good. It's awesome.
That would not work in my household.
It was a struggle. Not
unless I want to cook 2 meals every single time I'm cooking.
Yeah. There'd be a mutiny, would there?
Like, well, the kids are, I mean, again, 17 years of bad habits. The kids don't really eat vegetables. Well, the nephew does, not the niece, not so much. And then Lily needs her meat and starch. So, yeah.
It's an adjustment for sure. It's cheaper. It's easier. You don't have to worry about like defrosting, and you don't have to worry about salmonella and shit like that. But
I'm like the only one that eats fish.
It's fun. Oh man, in Seattle too.
Yeah,
Holy
I know. I moved to Seattle, and my wife doesn't like coffee or fish, so she's screwed.
No,
it is wasted on her.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
Hang on, what's this podcast about again?
Yeah, guys, do you remember when we decided we'd do a podcast about games?
That's right. Shit.
It worked for a while there. It lasted for over a year, didn't it?
Oh, man. Ages ago.
What
was that called?
Rather Be Eating Meat.
Yeah, that's yours. Yeah. This is stuff I'm loving.
Oh, man. Well,
okay, guys. Games. Who's been playing games?
So I finally, a couple days ago, the long-awaited game, at least for me, Octopath Traveler, finally came out. I was in my hotel.
Yeah.
I had pre-downloaded it a long time ago with my birthday money. And
you had collected almost all of the characters on the demo?
Yeah, I got 7 of them and was like sitting outside waiting to pick up the 8th one. And so I was in my hotel room and I was like, oh, finally it unlocked. Okay, sweet. And then I was up to like 2 a.m. and maybe not as awake as I should have been for work the next day. But yeah, it's a lot of fun so far. I'm having a blast with it. I finished everybody's chapter 1 and I finished one of the chapter 2s. The biggest problem I'm running into right now is because I plowed through the first 7 characters, because I played it before with a couple times in the demo, skipped the story cutscenes on the last one just so I could kind of speed my way through it. I was kind of underleveled at that point, so now I've had to do a little bit of grinding to catch up to where this chapter 2 stuff is. So so little bit of that, but I mean it's not awful. The battle system is pretty engaging. It's kind of like a cross between like Shin Megami Tensei and Bravely Default. You like can boost your characters to make them do extra stuff each turn, and then you also have weaknesses on the enemies that are identified like on top of the enemy. You can see what their weaknesses are. And
oh, cool! So you don't have to like investigate them.
No. They show up as question marks until you figure it out, but they stay there. And then
cool. So it's kind of like Shin Megami Tensei in that way, because like you'll try and attack, and then it'll either repel or it'll do damage, and then you'll know whether that's a weakness or a strength. So
I haven't really run into anybody that's really like strong or like nullifies anything or so. The weakness is what they do is every enemy you come across has a little shield icon next to them, and it has a number on it. That says basically like if there's a 4 in it, it says you have to hit them 4 times with any weakness to break them. And then they're stunned. They're stunned for a turn, and they take like extra damage from all sources, basically. So your goal in each battle is basically to break everybody on the field and then unload. Although I did get into I did in chapter 2, you start running into things where like the boss has his weaknesses like blocked off, and you have to get rid of his minions in order to actually hit his weakness. It does seem to throw some wrenches at you so far, but overall though, like it's great. The music is fantastic. I was talking to Elliot about this a little bit earlier. It's kind of reminds me a lot of the old melodic songs you'd hear back in like SNES RPGs, just with like higher production values, if you will.
Oh, cool.
I mean, there are some that are more like ambient noise and rather than like full blown songs, but it's a fantastic soundtrack so far.
And then, how is the story? How are the NPCs? Are they interesting? Is the world does it feel alive?
So it's interesting. So the way the game works is it seems like so you have 8 characters in your party, and they all have their own stories. And then this is the kind of part where you kind of have to suspend disbelief, is that they all just kind of join up just because. And then like you see on the map, you're like, okay, here's Therion's chapter 1, here's Ulbricht's chapter 1, and then do those. You're like, okay, Therion's chapter 2 is up there. In each of their chapters, it's only that character that you really see. You could press a button like during certain scenes to get some like party banter back and forth, depending on who's in your party. But basically, each of those chapters just follows that sole character, and everybody else is just kind of along for the ride.
So there isn't like branching paths, and there isn't like. So
it's more like it's not necessarily like, so like in Final Fantasy, you have a bunch of people that band together to save the world or whatever.
Yeah.
In this game, it's like a collection of short stories. It's like the Canterbury Tales of RPGs. So you have like the Knight's Tale, Ulbrich, who's trying to figure out what he thought was his friend. Why did he kill the king? And you're going, and all the other party members that you get just kind of end up tagging along for the ride. And then as you progress through his chapters, you learn more about his story. And then there's like the merchant Tressa, who just wants to go out and explore the world. And you go through her chapters, and that's all her story. And again, there's party chat where they can interact with party members here and there. Yep. But again, it's primarily focused on that one character.
Okay.
So basically, the only difference your party composition makes is in battles. Is that right?
No. Well, yes and no. So every party member has a class. Like Therion's a thief, Ophelia's a cleric. And they also have their own path actions, which are things that you do on the field that allow you to either get items, information, a bunch of different things. So like Therion, for instance, can steal from basically any NPC.
Yep. So that's not even when you're in combat situations. Yeah. That's just when you're out in the world. Yeah, okay. You're like walk up to someone, click the steal button, it gives you a % chance to succeed, and go for it. So there's what they call rogue path actions and noble path actions. The 4 rogue ones correspond to the 4 noble ones. So like, for instance, Therion's steal action, it's a % chance to steal something, whereas Tressa can buy those items off that character. Yeah. There's no penalty if like you don't have the money. It's just you don't have the money.
Whereas if you fail with Therion, after like 5 failures in a town, your reputation goes down. You got to go pay money at a tavern to get it back up. Yeah. So like the rogue ones, there's no like level requirement to do the actions. It's just a chance based thing. Whereas the noble ones, there's no way to fail. You just have to meet a requirement to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ones. Like you can get people to follow you and they'll fight in battle with you. They're just kind of on their own, doing their own thing. And I mean, they can die and they're out for a few turns or something. Or you can investigate people to get more information, maybe find a hidden item on the map, or maybe you'll learn about how to get a discount at the inn, or maybe suddenly more weapons will be for sale at the store. It kind of behooves you to use kind of all the path actions at your disposal. But there's tons of like little side quests throughout the game also. And apparently you can actually tackle them in different ways. Like for instance, early on, there's a quest in Alphin's town where some fisherman's like annoyed that he's like not getting any fish anymore. He's wondering what the hell's going on. And then if you go west, you find a guy that's out there just kind of reeling in all the fish. And so the other guy can't get any. I beat the shit out of that guy and that resolved the quest.
Holy shit. That's some like, authoritarian.
Well, yeah, you can fight basically with Ulbrich and Honnett. You can fight NPCs, and they'll just drop stuff. They'll drop items, or maybe they'll resolve a quest. But
does it go into like a fight mode?
Yeah,
like battle mode when you do. Okay.
Yeah, no, you actually fight them. And then, but apparently, I was reading someone else was able to solve that quest by, I guess, either stealing or finding some like really potent bait that you can give to that fisherman, and which means the fisherman that gave you the quest. And then all the fish will go towards him, and that's another way to resolve the quest. So
it's like multiple solutions to different problems. It kind of sounds like an open world ish vibe without actually being open world, but just the open possibilities. So it really depends on like what your party composition is and whether or not you want to use different path actions to solve different quests and things like that. It is
the question is like, will it make you want to go back and replay the game with different party members just to see those different things in action? Does it have that kind of staying power, or would you just be like, well, wasn't that interesting a side quest in the first place?
Well, I mean, the side quests, I don't know. I mean, you get some decent rewards from them so far. Mostly it's money, maybe an item as well. No experience. Your experience is just from battles. But I mean, maybe like replays and stuff. So, once you start collecting people a little bit out of the ways of the initial towns, you can find shrines that open up the subclasses for all the jobs. So like you can make Therion, who's a thief, also have the subclass of Ophelia, which is a cleric. So he's a thief cleric. And then you can, there's one for each of the jobs. And I think there's actually like 4 hidden ones somewhere way later in the game or something. But yeah, so everybody can have a class and a subclass. You can only have one person assigned to each subclass. So you can't have like a party of 8 thieves or 4 thieves or whatever. And then you learn the abilities as you gain job points, and the passive abilities that you learn as you unlock those skills. Those you can keep even if you change to like a different job. So like Alphin, his second passive skill gives you like plus 500 HP. But so if you take off Alphin's subclass, you can't use his first aid skill anymore, but you get to keep that passive of plus 500 HP. I mean, you can only equip 4 of them at a time, but it's in your inventory that you can use. So it kind of behooves you to go back and look at all the subclasses, do trials and different combinations, because different classes also use different weapons. Like for instance, Therion, who's my main character, is why I keep bringing him up. You can primarily uses a dagger and a sword, and he can also has a little bit of fire magic. But if I were to add Ophelia to his as a subclass to him, that'll also let him use a staff and holy magic. So I mean, it gets you the ability to hit more weaknesses with one person. So
okay.
But yeah, it's good so far. I'm about 10 hours in.
Oh wow, more than I.
Well, I was at the dealership playing it for a few hours when I was getting those tires. Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep going. I'm curious to see how like all the stories kind of resolve at the end, or if they like converge and, there's that ancient evil thing, like I mentioned last time, something afterwards. A lot of the reviewers said there wasn't, but I think there's also been like some information basically saying there is like end game after those 4 chapters. It might not be a lot, but apparently it does exist. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. How does it stack up against like, modern classics and classics? Like, is this a great game, or is it like just an average JRPG for you?
I mean, I've only played 10 hours. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I don't know where I'd rank it yet, but I mean, I don't have any problem playing a sprite-based RPG. That's it's not like I'm sitting there going, why doesn't this look like Final Fantasy 15? This is bullshit. But yeah, I mean, I'll be able to tell you more once I beat it, I guess. I don't know.
That's the most exciting thing about it to me is kind of like what 3D Dot Game Heroes did, and these like indie revivals like Cosmic Star Heroine. It's just like these like 16-bit JRPGs, just 16-bit style, 16-bit homages, doing well. And I know it's mostly nostalgia. Yeah. I know it's mostly like, but I'm not expecting a new FF6, but like the mindset it puts me in, and like the feeling I get when I see games like this and I play them, it's like, oh man, like
this scratches that itch. Scratches that
itch. Yeah, that itch hasn't been scratched in so long, and you don't realize it until you see this, and you're like, this, and it's on Switch. You can take it on the go. You can put it on your TV. And
and in theory, when you strip a thing down, when you like reduce the graphics to this kind of level from, in comparison to Final Fantasy 15, which is also open world, and it's also ultra modern, and it also is this action RPG elements. This, if you get the character of this right, if you get the story of this right, I think we'd all prefer to play 16-bit style games if they could offer like story.
If the game is good, it's good. I'm not a big graphics like whore, if you will. I don't need like the most mind-blowing graphics in my games, as long as it doesn't look like shit. I mean, there is an extreme on the other end where I'm like, okay, why does this look like Atari Pac-Man? But
I remember when people heard about this, we were like hoping that it would be Final Fantasy 16. Like that they would just toss everything out and say, oh, this is Final Fantasy 16 now. You're never going to know what kind of style of game we're going to make next.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had any illusions about that.
Fair enough.
It's all about the art direction.
And it's pretty. It's a sprite game, but like the backdrops are just like, I don't know. It's just beautiful. Whoever's doing the artwork for a lot of the backgrounds and things is putting in some work. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm looking up the designer of the game. I've never heard of him before, but his credits include working on the art for Metal Gear Solid 5 and Shenmue.
Oh.
So he's worked on a few games. Kind of looks like he works on a game like every 3 or 4 years or so. and now he's like fully in charge of Octopath. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm going to keep playing it. Maybe I'll get it done by the next episode. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh shit. How long is it supposed to be?
Like 60 hours to 100 hours, depending on how much.
Oh man. So yeah. Okay.
Wait, didn't you
even 10 hours in, you probably haven't scratched even the surface of the story much yet. Have you?
Like I said, I finished everybody's intro chapter, and I finished one of the chapter 2s from one. So
you're not far enough to know yet if it's eventually going to get the emotional juices flowing.
No, the emotional juices. I'm not sure about those yet.
Okay,
I did it.
I did it. Good segue. But in another sense, we have been playing a game where when you stab things, juices do come out. Stevo, you want to tell us about Hollow Knight?
Josh, I thought you were going to tell us about Hollow Knight because you've played about 100 hours of it and you've got like 106% completion.
I want to hear your thoughts so I can tell you when you're wrong.
Okay. Here's my thoughts. I went the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
So
that sounds about right.
It up.
So I finally got the kick in the nuts, Dark Souls feeling from Hollow Knight.
Wait, let me just guess. Deep Nest?
Deep Nest is no, okay. I don't think so.
Okay, well, you're gonna get another kick in the balls later then.
The Mantis Village fucking kicked me in the balls.
Yeah,
I just got to the point where I started avoiding them. I like would dash over them.
I would come back to that area after you get a nail upgrade because the boss takes way too damn long.
Let me get fought the boss.
What special skill do you get from the Mantis Nest?
You get a great one.
Wall jump.
You get wall jump. Yeah.
Wall jump. Okay, so I've already got that one.
Okay.
Okay, but what happened to me? Okay, so I had just beaten some kind of boss in the City of Tears. And And I was wondering,
is it the flying guy, Soul Master or something like that, or Soul something?
Does he give you the burrow skill?
Yes,
the dive skill,
the ground pound. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I had just beaten him, and that had been a little tough. Actually, you know what? It wasn't really. Once you learn the patterns, it was pretty simple. Yeah. But oh no, because he has that thing where he looks like he's gonna die, and then he comes back to life, and he's even harder. Yeah. Okay. So he did kill me a few times. Oh, I hated him for a little bit. So
I was about to say, okay.
Yeah. I finally beat him, and I made my way all the way back because I remembered obviously the ground pound. I knew that I could use it in the mines.
Yeah.
So I fought my way all the way through. Picked up a load of geo. Had picked up a lot of geo from killing him. I had 2,000 geo, and the mines is like two screens below the town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All that I had to do was before going to the mines and using the ground pound was to go to the town and buy a lantern. You know what you need if you're going into mines, guys? A lantern. You need a lantern. Why didn't I go buy the lantern? So the lantern is 1,800, and I had never had anywhere near that amount of geo before. Geo being the currency, obviously, for anyone listening. I'm sure you worked that out. Yeah. Why didn't I go buy it? So, of course, I wander into the mines without a lantern, and I can't for the life of me find that map, bastard. I can't find them. I can't find a map. I have no idea where I'm going. Of course I die. Of course I die. And then I'm like, oh no, now I have to go directly there again. And now I don't have any geo again to buy a lantern, which I need in that area again. So I was trying to fight my way back. I managed to get my souls back. Sorry, my geo back, obviously. And I was trying then to like make my way back so that I could go cash in and buy that lantern. And of course, I died again. And then I had to go retrieve it again. And I still didn't know my way out. And I finally fucking died before retrieving it. And lost 2,000 and was like, fuck this game.
So have you been picking up things like the Hallownest seals and the traveler's journals and things like that?
Yeah, I've got a lot of pickups. I feel like I've been pretty rigorous.
There's a guy in the City of Tears that'll buy those from you.
That's the thing, because cool. I knew there would be an expert at some point that you could talk to who would, because it pretty much says this might be of use to an expert in this kind of things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I haven't found him yet.
So, pro tip.
Yep.
When you have geo, spend it.
I know. I was
put it in the bank.
Two screens down from the town. Why didn't I do it?
I had a very, very similar ball kicking Dark Souls wake up moment to that. See, it's almost parallel, except I lost 130 geo instead of 2,000. and it's still it's still enraged me. And it was going through the Mantis area the first time, and I started seeing, I didn't have the map. I didn't know where I was or where I was going. And I was just like, I'm sure there's a save point at some point. Yeah. And I started seeing the signs pointing to like bench this way, bench this way, bench this way. And I'm trying to find it. And the signs aren't exact.
No,
it just gives you a general idea. And they tended to be pointing left. So I kind of kept to the left. And then I was, at one point it broke to the right. And I was like, started to go right. And then I was like, no, I'll just keep going left. And then I died. And that was the first time. That's fine. But I started way, way up. So I had to, of course, do it again. I hadn't lost my money yet. And I came back down and went slightly right instead. And there was a Mantis and he killed me. And that's when I lost my geo and I lost my shit. And then, of course, I had to do it again and again and again. And I kept dying. I finally came down and was able to finish going right, killed the Mantis. The save was literally not even a screen over. It was just pan it over half an inch and it was there. And I was just like, I can't believe I lost all those 130 geo, but obviously I feel
130. Get the fuck out of here. But the most enraging thing for me is I still have to go that way. I still have to go to the mines. So I still need a lantern.
Oh,
so it's like, am I gonna go grind for 1,800 geo in other places?
That's what I was saying. Find that dude in the City of Tears and sell him your stuff.
Okay, so I can get to him right now. I don't need anything else from the mines before getting to him.
I mean, I don't even know if you have to go to the mines right now. I mean, there's probably other ways you can go too. But
okay,
yeah.
Okay, that is a good tip. You've made me like this game again.
Just look at the map and look at the map that you have and see if there's any like empty spots that you could go and see if you can get there.
Yeah. Have you been using the bank? I dropped off like 2,000 geo at the bank, and it's just sitting there.
You're a smart person, Elliot. I'm not.
I don't need this right now. So.
You should take it and go buy a lantern. You're gonna need it.
Yeah, I haven't found the lantern guy yet. So as soon as I do, I'm gonna get it.
When we first talked about Hollow Knight, I talked about a room that I was in there when I first played it, where it was dark and spikes were everywhere, but I somehow made it through. Yeah, this time with the lantern, it went a lot quickly.
I knew it would.
I saw that room and I went through it with the darkness, and there wasn't anything there. I just like went to the end. There was a big wall of spikes, and then I just went back out. Did you get something in there?
I think there's a couple of them. I think one of them is kind of doable.
There's one that's
lantern, and there's one that's just not.
There's one that's a bunch of platforms with spikes and spikes all over.
The one I did.
Oh, you did. You should have gotten a mask piece at the end of it.
Yeah,
I might have missed it. Because there's high levels and low levels.
Yeah, you have to go up to the top right, I think.
Yeah, and then like you drop
to the end.
You drop down a little bit and go right then. But yeah, there's a mask piece there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're all really loving this game. The only thing I find about it, do you find it a little bit floaty times? The jumping?
No, not really floaty. The only major issue I had with the controls was the Switch D-pad and the analog stick are terrible for pogoing. And you need to need to pogo.
Yeah.
I've been playing it with the Xbox One controller on PC, on Steam, streaming to my TV. And it works really well, but analog for pogoing is really bad.
You're playing it streamed?
Yes, and it's
with the latency.
It's flawless. There's no latency. I've got a power line Ethernet. Because I told you that I couldn't work out why the Steam stream was kind of slow, even though I had a power line connected. I also had it Wi-Fi connected, and it was using the Wi-Fi. So I hadn't used my Steam stream in like a year or something, because whatever game I tried last was just unplayable, and I couldn't work out why it was. And all that I had to do was like forget Wi-Fi, and now it works like perfectly, no latency at all. Yeah.
Have you also? So one thing that helped me as well was changing my TV to game mode. It drastically reduced. Okay.
Yeah, I always do that with the TV that we have as well.
Yeah, because we have the same one.
Yep. There was something else I was going to ask you about. Oh yeah, so the D-pad on the Xbox is not good for this because it's clicky and it's it doesn't feel instantaneous. What controller should I be using for this? Can I use?
I would say the DualShock would be the best of the D-pad if you were to use D-pad.
Yeah. And it
Switch Pro.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Maybe Switch Pro. Yeah.
So does the Switch controller work with Steam?
Yes,
it does now.
Yeah, that was a relatively recent change.
Okay, and is there a button on it for syncing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure, right? Yeah.
The Switch controller, because I figured it was one of those that you just switch it on, and you know the way the Switch Auto sees different controllers, and you have to press like two buttons clicking in. Maybe there's some combination of buttons that you hold down, and that starts pairing, similar to the the
Joy-Cons had that little button on the inside that you press to sync.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure there's a.
I don't have a Pro controller. So
yeah, good point. Oh, okay. I'm going to give that a go, because I imagine it would be the best for playing a 2D side-scrolling platformer.
I so look forward to hearing your guys' screams of pain later with some of Hollow Knight. Oh,
I had to get past that point of like any other Metroidvania, they'll have their tough moments, but you have a general idea, Castlevania, Metroid, how it's going to go. But when this started, just like, I think it was the first, I guess they're technically bosses, but they're not, like they're mini bosses. And it was just like, I couldn't attack him. And it was like the very first one. And the only time I could attack him is when he was attacking. There was like a quarter of a second.
And you need the fireball kind of thing?
Not even, it was before that even.
You're talking about the dude with the club that like slams it back and forth on you?
It might be that one, yeah.
So like, you have to like,
how do I get in?
You basically like hit him twice, run away. Hit him twice, run away. Or like, the pogo works too sometimes. So it's just a matter of, you really got to think about how you want to tackle him.
And as the very first boss, it's like, how is like I must not supposed to be here yet.
The real Hollow Knight starts here.
Gradually, you're like, oh my god, this game is just super hard. And like you run into someone else that's also hard to attack, but then you get through them, and then in the next room there's two of them at the same time, and you're like, okay, so this is a hard game.
Yeah.
I just love how all of the bosses make you have to switch up the skills that you're using as well. Like when do you regenerate heat? When do you use the fireball? When do you? Well, I guess dashing is more obvious. Dashing you use whenever you're avoiding a lot of attacks from these guys. Josh, I haven't used the dive attack for anyone really yet, except people.
I haven't used it much either, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, and the pogo, as I say, is really, really hard to do with the analog.
It is integral. You have to get good at it.
Yeah. So what have you been using? What have you been playing on? Joy-Cons?
Yeah, Joy-Cons, yeah.
And you find it hard with those as well, even though they're like a digital button for down.
I use the analog stick. I don't use the D-pad. D-pad's terrible, so I use the analog stick. And it's I got the analog stick's not terrible, but it's just finicky because if you hit to slightly turn to the left or something, you'll attack left instead of down. So you just kind of gotta, I don't know, just fiddle with it until you get like in a groove. It's because so late in the game, it's in an optional area. There's like a Super Meat Boy type level where there's like spinning blades and spikes everywhere, and you gotta dash. Bad. You have to like dash, double jump, just do everything to get around it. I beat that. There's apparently a hidden harder one that I haven't found.
Oh wow! I can't wait. I love that shit, and I mean, I love that shit. Hate that shit.
But you've got to get good at pogoing because you'll have to pogo off of like blades so you don't die.
No. Okay. I definitely got to get this Switch Pro controller up and running. Guys,
sure.
This is such a fun game, though. I'm loving it.
It's definitely one of the best Metroidvanias I've ever played.
I agree completely.
Amazing.
It's up there with Super Metroid and Symphony of the Night.
Yep.
100%. The only thing Symphony of the Night has on it is music. And not to say the music in Hollow Knight is bad. It's still very good. It's more atmospheric.
Yeah.
But it's the complete package. It's like a perfect game.
It's got perfect difficulty for me. I mean, yeah, some of the things are rage inducing, like the last percentage I need to get, but everything's pretty doable. It's just challenging.
And I didn't realize the Switch is the first console port of it. It's only on Steam and Switch right now.
Yep.
Which is nuts.
Yep. And it's sold really well on both, from what I hear.
It got a big resurgence after the Switch port came out because a lot of people slept on it because it was PC only.
Totally. Yeah, I wonder would it have got nods for Game of the Year if people had picked it up on PC.
Maybe.
Because so many people, reviewers and everything, didn't play it because it wasn't on Switch yet.
Well, I know you look at Kotaku and all of a sudden a bunch of them are, and Waypoint, a bunch of them are playing it all of a sudden. Now
it's like a year later.
Yeah,
that's what threw me off. I was like, why is everyone else also playing this now? I thought I was late because I was just being an ass and holding out for the Switch version, but everyone else did the same thing.
Yeah. But yeah,
it's so weird.
I hope you guys end up finishing it. I'll by the way, I know there is a kind of glitch to get a bunch of money. So if you need to know what that is, so the DLC, there's this extra like NPC that will upgrade some stuff for you, but it's like costs like 12,000, 15,000, and 20,000 Geo, which it takes forever if you don't use the glitch. So I'll tell you all about it when you get to that point.
How far am I in it, by the way? So I've got pretty far in the City of Tears, and in fairness, I've got pretty far in the mines as well without having got a map. I feel like once I get a lantern, I'll be fine.
When you say the mines, you mean the crystal mines?
Yeah.
It's like pink everywhere?
Yep.
Okay, so getting through there, there's a spot in there that kind of opens up the main quest, if you will. And then, so I don't know, you're maybe like a third. If you're talking full completion, maybe like a fourth. A fifth, maybe. There's a lot in their game, so.
Good. It's been fun. I hope I can try playing some other games at the same time, but God, that's all I want to play right now.
I definitely plowed through it, like during my work trips. I just popped my Switch up onto the hotel TV I had, and I just sat in bed and I played it for hours when I wasn't working.
Nice.
Yeah. That's how I played the next game we're talking about, Oxenfree.
In a hotel room while traveling?
Yeah, it was when I was in Montreal. I didn't play it on the TV, but I played it start to finish, laying in bed.
With his friends Ollie and Ollie.
understand.
Ollie Oxenfree. All right, never mind.
Oh yeah.
No,
Yes,
no.
Oxenfree of Ollie fame.
Yes.
It's are we? I don't want to jump ahead if we're still have any other notes on Hollow Knight.
No, I think we're going to come back to Hollow Knight at some point, but that should definitely do us for this week.
God, it was so good. I'm almost like, oh, we should have ended on that. Oxenfree was our last roulette game, which we rolled before E3 and gave ourselves an extension because of E3 and the tremendous amount of traveling we're doing this summer.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, but we all did finish it, and we are here to talk about it, filled with spoilers, because it is a story-heavy game. There isn't really much else to go on about. It kind of plays like, well, I guess narratively, it kind of unfolds like a Telltale game. Mm-hmm. You have choices, and your choices are all dialogue. And as far as actions, you can control the characters where they go, pretty much. So,
well, you're basically just controlling one character, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah, but it's basically a point and click game, for lack of a better term.
But instead of point and clicking, you move the characters around,
right.
with a joystick. I think that's how I would describe it.
Yeah,
best.
Actually, you can use the Switch to point and
the point.
Yeah, to click on.
Oh, I never tried that.
Oh, I didn't play it in docked mode or undocked, so I don't know. I didn't know.
I played it all in handheld, but I did use the analog stick because I had played a little bit of it on PS4 beforehand, so I was kind of used to it. It was a free one on PlayStation Plus as well, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think it was, yep. So if you're listening and you have it on PlayStation Plus and you don't want to be spoiled, then you might want to skip ahead 10 minutes or so. Yeah. Because we will get into a few spoilers here, will we?
Yeah, it's a pretty short game, and it's almost entirely story and characters. So that's basically everything I've said about it so far is all you can really say about it without getting into the story.
Well, we could.
How's it start off?
So it's kind of a teen horror premise, for want of a better term. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's close.
It's supernatural, and there's definitely some terrifying moments where like the screen just like flashes you with something horrible. And then it goes away, and it's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah,
it's like Eternal Darkness meets Poltergeist meets I know what you did last summer.
Yeah,
it is a bit of that, and a bit X-Filesy without law enforcement there.
Yeah,
it's like happening to people.
Yeah,
yeah. It starts off with you're playing as this girl Alex, who's taking a trip on the ferry over to this uninhabited island off the coast of your town,
Northwest.
Based in the Pacific Northwest, isn't it? And you're heading over with a couple of friends. So your best friend Ren and your new brother or stepbrother, who you haven't really hung out with much before, but you decided to invite him along as a friendly gesture. And then you're going to meet another couple of friends at the beach on this island and have a few drinks and just hang out. That's the premise.
Yeah.
Well, and then you go exploring and things go horribly wrong.
So her new stepbrother's Jonas. They take the ferry over, and then they're meeting up with, and I guess they do this every year or something like that, because they keep referencing like last year's party is so much bigger, and this year it's only like 4 people or 5 people.
Yeah.
And then you meet up with, was it Cassandra?
Clarissa and Nona.
Sorry, Clarissa and Nona, and then Alex and Jonas and Ren. And you all embark on an epic adventure, and it's filled with like it's very character driven and very dialogue driven, and you have a lot of options and a lot of choices. And I do get the sense that the choices you make affect at least how you get to the ending. And from the number of endings there are, it looks like there's 7 or 8 possibilities. It does actually affect how the game ends as well. So it's really nice to see that, and it kind of makes me like, you see the callbacks to those point click adventure games a little more when that happens.
And the dialogue's actually really well done. Like, so, I mean, I'd played Night in the Woods a while back to give a comparison. Night in the Woods didn't have voice acting, but the thing is that everything the character said would sound like something you would expect, like, you know, a angsty teenager or a young adult to talk about or say. And Oxenfree does pretty much the same thing. And this time with the voice acting's pretty good.
Yeah.
The acting was good. And most of the dialogue was good, I thought. I thought they made Ren, the best friend, a little over the top.
Way more obnoxious than he needed to be.
Yeah, but come on, you're gonna always have tropey characters in here. I feel like that's a good thing. If everyone was bland and if everyone was, you know,
Ren the neurotic pothead.
Yeah. I mean, like, so I fired this up like a year ago or something like that when we got it for free. And I only got as far as like them arriving on the island, and the first thing that put me off was Ren's dialogue. So that's still kind of like it gets better, or maybe I got used to it as it went on, but stick with it. Like, it's not that bad.
On the plus side, you're not really with Ren a lot of the time. So.
Yeah, the party splits up throughout and rejoins and shuffles. But yeah, so you go on the beach and you start a fire, and the girl, God, I want to say Cassandra again.
Clarissa.
I will explain it all to you, Elliot.
Yeah. She's kind of the standoffish one. She's a bit cruel. They play game like a truth or dare kind of game.
Yeah, she's a bit of a mean girl.
Yeah,
she's popular, and I think they talk about her.
She's a bit of a plastic.
Yes, she's the one that asks the like, you know, why'd your brother die questions, and it's just like
not quite. So they're playing, what was it, truth or dare?
Truth or slap.
Oh, truth or slap.
Oh yeah.
Clarissa kind of cuts through the bullshit to just mean shit, and basically asks your character, Alex, why did your parents split up? Knowing full well that the reason it was that neither of them could handle the death of your brother, Michael.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's a really interesting way to start a game, and it really does just, you know, get the stakes shown straight up immediately. It was straight away, I guess you're meant to not like Clarissa, basically.
Yeah, she's a bit of the antagonist. I wouldn't say the antagonist. There's definitely, like, I feel like the island and the things going on there is the antagonist of the story, but Clarissa is a friction point for your character.
Yeah. From there, the group kind of splits up because.
Well, I was just kind of doing like the character background. So the last one is Nona.
Yeah.
Which
she's just kind of there.
Understand why she's there. Like, I don't think there's any. She's kind of a partial potential love interest for Ren, your best friend. But other than that, I don't even remember like anything she says. I don't remember her really.
She's friends with Clarissa, so that's she's there to like provide that foil, I guess, to Clarissa's, you know, constant assholey behavior. Nona's there to be like, you know, she'll be the one to say, you know, okay, everybody, let's calm down, or, you know. But I mean, yeah, she's
and if
she doesn't do a lot though.
Yeah, if you choose to take her with you at a later point in the game, she does tell you some nicer stories about Clarissa. She does paint the human side of Clarissa, where the whole time you've only seen her from your perspective. And obviously
I did that
she's
too.
Being a bitch to you, so
it
is kind of eye-opening bringing along Nona in that case.
Yeah, and of course, as Clarissa's being a jerk, she has good reasons for it, and the characters develop a little bit beyond that. But and yeah, like, you get to hear different stories and perspectives depending on who you're with and the choices you make. But from the get-go, and I think for most of the story, I didn't really see where she fit in other than hanging out with Clarissa, like being her sidekick.
Yeah.
So yeah, then the story gets started.
So basically, you wander off because you're pissed off at Clarissa, mostly, I think.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
And
well, it's like you don't wander off. You Jonas and Ren are like, let's go check out this cave, and and you could, I think you could decide to stay, but I think you have to go somehow. So because I don't know how the story progresses if you say no. So yeah,
I didn't try that.
Yeah.
And Ren has told you to bring along a little hand radio.
Yeah.
So there's rumors that there's something going on the island, and you can tune into these frequencies, and you know, people will be talking to you, and well, I guess that could be any radio, but
how does that work?
But yeah, you wander into one of the caves and you start messing with the radio, which is one of the main mechanics that you have to use as you're navigating this world. Like, you're either walking around, you can click on things to investigate them, but really there isn't that many items that you can interact with in the entire game, and you can use the radio. You like flick through, you scroll through frequencies, and then if you pick something up, it might cause something to happen on screen. So in this case, it like draws out these crazy triangles in the sky, and then everything goes nuts, and you wake up in a totally different part of the island, and you're trying to like basically put the gang back together, find out where everyone is,
and either get off the island and either or try and solve what the hell's actually going on. Yeah.
So when you wake up, you're alone, or are
you wake up at the wake up, but Jonas is nearby, and you go find him.
Okay.
He's
in the tower, and you're at the foot of the tower.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's this big radio tower in the middle of the island, which kind of seems to be a central point. You revisited a couple times.
So the island used to be a base or something along those lines for like a army or navy submarine station.
Yeah.
I
And
was just saying that's why the comm tower's there, because there's a naval unit there.
And it's like World War II era. It hasn't. They've been out for a very long time. And there's a couple references to an old lady who has a mansion on the island and recently passed away. Mm-hmm. And she's like kind of like this crazy old lady, and they brush her off, and they have jokes about her as teenagers do to reclusive, mysterious adults. But the focus here is getting the gang back together. So you find Ren, and I think you try to was it Ren or Jonas?
We find Jonas initially.
Yeah, okay, so you find Jonas, and then you try to use the radio, and you hear Clarissa through the radio.
And Ren, yes.
And you get the choice of which to go find first. So did we all pick Ren?
I picked Clarissa.
Oh, you did?
I told Ren I was coming for him, but I went to Clarissa.
I think I did the opposite. I think I told Clarissa I was coming, and then I went to find Ren.
I told Ren, and I went to Ren.
So Josh, did Clarissa come with you then?
No, we found her like she was doing that thing in games and movies where like you see her running away, and then like you open the door she walked into, and she's not there anymore.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
because I was wondering if that was Ren instead for you.
Exactly what I was wondering as well. I was wondering if you pick them in the different order, do their parts in the story basically flip, but it doesn't.
Well, no, because they're in the same locations regardless, so it's just a matter of which way you go, I think.
Yeah.
Because Ren doesn't come with you either at that point, does he? When you save Ren?
No, maybe he doesn't. Maybe you're right. Maybe he goes to meet up with Nona.
Because you find Nona along the way and you send her to the comm tower.
Yeah.
And she's like super freaked out.
Yeah.
She's like, I just saw you here 10 minutes ago. What are you doing back? I don't believe this is really you.
Yeah.
And she's like refusing to play ball or trust you in any way.
And the reasoning is because the game forces you into these like time loops constantly where you have to keep repeating events until you figure out the way out of it.
So it kind of looks like a badly tracked VHS tape.
Yeah.
For our younger listeners, just Google what that is. It's and you can tell immediately when it's happening, because like you'll get to a certain point on the map and then it'll glitch, like and then you'll be back at the beginning. And so you've got to do something usually with the radio. And those like those rewinding
players,
there's like these stands will show up with tape players on them, and you have to like wind them at a certain speed. And sometimes it's just one, sometimes you have to do multiple, and then that ends time loop. And so a lot of weird stuff is happening.
I do appreciate that as you keep doing those time loops, Alex gets more and more annoyed by them.
Yeah,
just like me. Just like me.
Because
Yes,
I felt the same way. Yeah, I was like, not another time.
Yeah, I kind of wanted some other way of like this solving those time loops. It did get a bit repetitive. It did seem a little arbitrary.
Yeah,
just winding those things every time.
So unrelated to the story, but did you guys feel the same thing as I did? Why is there so much loading in this game?
Yeah, definitely.
There's like 20 whole screens in the entire game.
And it was so slow, the loading.
Don't understand why the loading was so. It feels like I feel like it could have been served better just to like load the whole game almost, and then just at the beginning and then go. But I don't know.
Yeah, like maybe it's a Switch port issue, but it was
That's definitely what I would guess. Yeah, I don't remember noticing that while playing the PlayStation version.
So
yeah,
that was. So yeah, the other main issue I had is that like, I mean, as you go along, you kind of get a better rhythm for this. But early on, I felt like I was interrupting everybody, and then sometimes I was like, well, I want to hear what my friends say before I respond. But you only have a time limit to respond to everything. Yeah. So and sometimes you won't interrupt. Sometimes when you select something, Alex will wait till the person's done talking. But there's no like cue whether or not that's the case. So I was always worried I was going to interrupt someone and miss out on what they're saying. And so I'd wait, and then I'd just completely miss my chance to say anything. So
I think they did that as like, you have a chance to respond, but the other character will keep talking so that there's not dead air. I think it was like just a design decision. And then you're supposed to interrupt them because anything they're saying at this point is superfluous.
I think so. And
superfluous, yes.
and yet the dialogue is so interesting and it's so snappy and it's so entertaining that lots of times you just want to hear them bantering. It is a testament to how good the dialogue is in this game. And also I would say the interruptions are more naturalistic than any other game I've ever played. Like I feel when I think back to Walking Dead and like the first episode of Game of Thrones, Telltale's Game of Thrones as well. When you would cut in and interrupt a conversation, it felt so janky. It felt like it was like jumping. It was just ending a cutscene midway and jump into a completely different cutscene. And it just like comparing this to that. This is Oxenfree's streets ahead. It's so far so much better.
Oh yeah, they did handle the interruptions well. It's just I wanted to hear what the other guy wanted to say, but I also wanted to say something. So it's just like,
Yeah. And it also makes you wonder, like, how many of these conversations were important ones that could have changed something.
Yeah.
And how many of them weren't. That was the thing that I found a bit frustrating about not knowing whether to interrupt or not. It was like, oh shit, if I don't interrupt, am I doing something wrong? And if I do, I guess if you do interrupt, you couldn't be doing something that, messing stuff up.
Yeah, and the other impact from all the dialogue is that like I would find myself plenty of times sitting there going like waiting to transition to another screen while I waited for everybody to finish talking.
Yeah.
Which is also counter to what I was thinking earlier, which is this game really needs a run button.
Yes,
it's a bit slow.
But if I ran, then I'd have to sit even longer waiting for them to talk. So
yeah. I guess we could talk a little bit more about the story. You find yourself wandering around the island and into different parts of the military complex. At one point, there's a little quiz. These kind of ghost creatures that you're interacting with. I guess you find out that. What happened? What was going on? Am I like jump into this at this point, or is this okay?
I was gonna mention the Clarissa like death.
Oh yeah,
like
that happens right after the quiz. So
yeah, so this is pretty much lining up. I guess there's a couple quizzes, right? Yeah. Okay. So you're not jumping ahead. Then we can talk about what you're going through the military base and you go through barracks, and then through tuning in to the radio and picking up these broadcasts, you are able to communicate all of a sudden with some kind of voice out there and
some otherworldly being.
Yeah, and you pick up that they're the ghosts of a deceased submarine crew that sank during World War II off the coast of that island due to friendly fire.
And it was covered up. It was all kind of hush hush. And there was something to do with like nuclear weapons being on the submarine, and maybe like did that cause people to get transported to this like purgatory kind of world that they're communicating to you from?
Yeah.
It's all very kind of sci-fi, ghosty, paranormal, as you say.
Yeah,
but it's
poltergeist.
Yeah,
and they're not friendly at all. Like they intend to take over, to possess their bodies.
Yeah,
and come back that way.
Yeah,
and you see that a lot. Like they temporarily possess several of them, and it's so creepy. Like their eyes get all red, and that's how they communicate. They speak to them through the people.
Yeah. And even though it's all like 2D sprites and it's all very cartoonish, it does jar you, as you say, Elliot. Like when they're being possessed, it's really uncomfortable. It's not nice to watch, and you do kind of want to shake them out of it, you know.
And there's no combat, there's no risk of dying anywhere, but it's like you're on edge. Like you tense up, and you're just like, oh no, like what's going to happen? What are they going to do? They're ghosts and are very aggressive.
Yeah.
So you're in these barracks, and were you going to talk about the quiz? Like,
I don't remember what the questions were. I can't remember what the questions were, but I was just proud of myself because I got all 4 right.
Oh, nice.
I
got 2 right before it failed.
Yeah, there were questions about the history of the island. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
So one was what's the name of the school? One was, what were codes called?
Yeah.
Another one was, the one I missed was how many people died in the sinking of the submarine.
That's the one I missed.
Totally guessed that and got it right.
Yeah. So I don't know what the last one was then, because I think it stopped at that point.
Was it a possessed Clarissa that gave?
I think that was like
Jonas got possessed while I was there.
Oh, okay.
And again, like the acting while that's happening, like the voices are really creepy and really affecting. They were good. I enjoyed that. But there was something else I was going to mention there. Oh, if I was to replay this game, and shout out to anyone who is going to play it, when I replay it, because I am going to try and replay it to get there are multiple alternative endings, but I would play it with subtitles on.
Oh, I did that. I did that too.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah, why did I turn them off then? Was the default on?
No, default's
subtitles
off, so I had to turn them on too. I turned them on about I don't know, 30 minutes in. I turned them on. I
never play with subtitles on because I feel like it's more natural playing without them, and just. But in this case, because some of the voices are spliced together, and they sound like being recordings from old radio broadcasts, and it would really help to have the subtitles on. There were times when I was not sure what these ghosts were saying.
Yeah. And I think right around that scene was when you go up and you find Clarissa.
Yeah.
And she seems off and just like jumps out a window, and you're like on the 3rd story of a barracks or a building of some kind.
You see her, and you see her hit the ground too.
Like, I don't think you see it, but you hear it, or like the screen shakes or something.
I think you.
No, you definitely see it there, at least before it pans back up. But I mean, then again, it was one of those things where I'm sitting there going, I know that I'm going to go back downstairs and she's not there. Oh, there it is. And there it is.
Yeah, you totally can tell.
Yeah.
So obviously she's not there, and that never really happened because she's not dead. You run into her later. But she spends, at least for my playthrough, Clarissa was like not there for the vast majority of the game.
Yeah. She tends to show up as like just as a voice for the ghosts.
Yeah. And I feel like at this point you pick up a clue, or you got to go back to the old lady's house, or you figure out she has a boat.
Ren remembers that she has a boat.
Yeah. And you have to go get the key, which is someplace else, and then you have to go to her house and get out. And then and in that time, there's some more time loops and a couple more possessions.
Yeah, and it feels like things are getting worse. It feels like the time loops are getting more frequent, and also you start jumping back in time.
Like by like a year, not like,
Yeah,
10
you
seconds.
start having those intense flashbacks. There's a scene with Alex's brother dying.
Wait,
it might be later.
Did you actually see him dying?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
No, I never got that.
Yeah, me neither.
No, really?
Yeah, so the ones that we saw was jumping back and you were speaking to him in his bedroom.
Yeah, I got that one.
There was also one where you are with him and Clarissa's being really nice.
Yeah, I remember. And on the beach, the beach, right?
And then you can choose whether to tell him to stick it out with her or to get rid of her, basically. And he seems to react to that.
And that's a scene that affects the ending too.
Yeah, I would have guessed that.
Because if you tell him, because he's trying to decide whether to leave the town and embark on some dream he has or to stay here with Clarissa, and depending on what you tell him, if you tell him to leave, I think that's how you get him to come back to life at the end of the game.
Oh, wow.
Because then he never stayed with Clarissa, he never stayed in the town, and he never drowned.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I told him to stay with Clarissa.
Yeah, I did too. But then like in a future one, he says that like he's gonna like run off with Clarissa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't tell which meant which.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely got to replay it and try to get that other ending.
Yeah, thankfully it's only like a 4-hour long game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a quick one.
Most of that is loading.
I did really appreciate the conversations between Alex and Michael as well. I thought those, like, it was pretty heartbreaking, like that idea of losing brother and you're both just in high school, and you know how heartbreaking that would be. Like, I used to hang out with my sister. She was a year and a half older than me. We used to hang out in high school all the time, and I totally like relate to the conversations they were having, and that, you know, it was
like you really get to see Michael and you really get to see their relationship, and you for the first time you get an idea of how heartbreaking it must have been for her. Yeah,
and Alex is so like strong and kind of, she takes no shit throughout the thing. So to like, you're amazed that she isn't fallen to pieces.
Yeah.
Like, or at least I was, you know, that she's even there. It's a really interesting story, though.
It is, yeah. So I definitely had a scene where it was either you see him die, and this has been a while now, or it's heavily implied, but, you know, she's like, they're out on the water, and you can at least hear their voices going back and forth.
Oh, no, I didn't get that one. Oh, man. I definitely have to go back and play this.
Yeah.
I feel like I totally missed out on that.
So the next thing is they get to the old lady's house, Maggie Adler, and this is pretty much the climax of the story. Like, you hear the plot of the ghosts, and it's pretty much that they want to come back and they want to possess them, and it's too late, blah, blah, blah. But somehow there's still a window where they can get away from this, and they pretty much just have to leave the island at that point, right?
Basically what happens is Alex kind of gets stuck in this like temporal area where possessed Clarissa's there. And the ghosts are basically saying, if you seal this thing off, then you'll be stuck here with us too. And at least for my ending, I was just like, you know, whatever, I'll do it for my friends. And then that somehow works, and you wake up on the boat. So
that was the very end, though.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you as a question, though, when you're in the house, when you're in Maggie Adler's house, at some point there's a little quiz thing as well.
Go find this item.
I got one of those right.
Yeah, I only got one of them as well, but I didn't think it mattered at all.
I got them all right. I don't know what it did, though.
Oh, interesting.
You just had to click certain items.
Yeah.
And I think I only got one of them. Because I felt like you didn't have time to run, and one of them was upside down. I was just like, nope.
Oh yeah.
One of them was the radiation one was the TV. There was a picture of a Gordian knot up in one of the rooms, or a Celtic knot or something, and then the other one was like a picture of Maggie Adler and I guess her daughter, I think, in the bedroom. So that was.
I think it was her. Was it her daughter? I thought it was her friend.
It might have been. I don't know.
Actually, you're right. It was her friend. I don't think it was her daughter.
Yeah.
And I got the impression that they were closer than friends.
Right.
Somehow, like that's why she was a recluse and
maybe
like kept away from people in those days. And you also find out. Sorry.
Okay.
you also find out kind of her tie to the plot. Like she's been aware of this for a while. Like she's passed away now, but while she was alive, she was trying to
stop other people moving to the island. She was trying to buy up all the land, and she was trying to get other parts set or what do you call it, designated by the government as like what do you call it,
historic
when land can't be built on?
Historical areas.
Yeah.
And yeah, she had a friend that was possessed by the ghost, right? Or like got pulled into that ghost nether realm, and that's why she started. Like that was her friend that got lost forever, and so she that's when she started doing this. She was doing stuff with the radio, and yeah, so she's a bit of a hero there. Like she was there, like kind of defending humanity from these World War II ghosts.
Yeah, right. And there are a few collectible items as well, pages of her diary that kind of piece together more of the story as well.
Yeah,
I think I picked up
there's photos. There's also the photos, and then there's also radio anomalies. I found a bunch of the radio anomalies. I only found one of the letters, though, but I also didn't really... At that point, it was late last night, and I was just like, I just need to knock this out. So
yeah.
Oh, has this got a platinum on PlayStation?
I can't imagine. It's so short.
I think it takes 3... I was looking around at like trophies and stuff. It says it would take 3 playthroughs. There's one trophy. Okay. There's one trophy you get for not answering a single thing. Huh. you never select a dialogue option.
I think I'm gonna give this a little platinum try.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in trying it again. Seeing if I could get that ending where you bring Michael back.
Yeah.
So after Maggie's is pretty much you're just beelining it for the ferry, because the reason you couldn't leave before was you took the last ferry to get in there, but now it's like 5 a.m. It's been all night, and you're trying to get the first ferry back out.
Yep.
To escape this. And so they get to a certain point, Josh, and you mentioned where Alex, how does Alex get pulled into that nether realm? I forget.
Oh wait, does she just go into the basement? Is it like down below? Oh, it's in a bunker, isn't it?
No, well, they go into the bunker and she follows the like triangle thing out back into the original cave.
Yeah. They're trying to get back to the original cave, and then she's there with
I love
Jonas.
how we describe it as the triangle thing.
Yeah, it's literally what it is, just a floating triangle.
Yeah, guys, it's not a
triangle. And she's there with Jonas, and then suddenly Jonas is gone, and it's just her, and she's in this underground bunker and gets pulled into this nether realm, and I think you can make choices there, whether it's like they basically say, let us keep Clarissa and all of you can go, or fight for Clarissa and all of you die, or all of you stay, or whatever.
No, Alex stays.
Or Alex stays, that's what it is. And so she's like, nope, we're all going home. At least that was the choice I made.
Yeah.
And then you somehow make it. Like that's kind of like that part of the plot. I'm not sure how you all got out. And then it just rolls to the ending after that.
I think it was mostly, I think the ghosts were bluffing.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like it. And you could call their bluff as well. Maybe if you called their bluff, that made the difference. I wonder if, as you say, you told them, take me, if Alex would have stayed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Yeah, so another playthrough would really like illuminate a lot of this. Definitely. And it's a testament, like wanting to save Clarissa is a huge testament to how they developed her character through those flashback scenes, her relationship with Michael.
Completely, yeah.
She's a totally different person before. And like the guilt that you can kind of feel through Alex of, because she was indirectly the cause of Michael's death.
Yeah.
And Clarissa blames Alex for that. And you can see why she does. She's just angry. Like it's not a fair blame.
Yeah.
And you could see how Alex must be racked with guilt because they were out on a boat or out for a swim.
Yeah.
And Alex made it back, but Michael didn't.
Yeah.
And I think it was her idea to go out for that swim or something like that. Anyway. So then they're all on the ferry and they're going home, and you kind of see the characters wrap up on. We were saying that Ren and Nona, who I think this is the first time we've mentioned since the start of the get together. And then this would be the scene where suddenly Michael is there. If you did save him, you did bring him back. And then as it kind of rolls away, there's a time loop.
Yeah.
It's really well done. Yeah.
Something
really,
good.
You're like, oh no, did they not get out? Holy crap. And so you're supposed to play through it again, and if you get the right ending, that won't happen.
Yeah.
So it does imply that they didn't quite get out. They're just going to keep looping that forever.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice design, bit of game design. It was really cool. And it does make you go, oh, damn, I got to play it again immediately, you know?
Yeah.
It's like an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah. My first, I was like, oh no, I didn't do it right. Like I got a wrong dialogue choice. I should have got those quiz questions right.
Yeah, it's really clever.
I had to look it up right away.
Yeah.
And yeah. It's, I mean, we talked about it for like a quarter of the length it takes to finish the whole game. It's so quick, and it's definitely worth playing. The story is really, really well told through excellent dialogue and excellent voice acting, excellent performances.
And it does feel a little slow at time. You do walk very slowly. It doesn't seem like there's a lot in the world to interact with, and then just interacting, doing the rotating the analog stick on the tape player feels a bit silly. But you're
really there for story, not mechanics.
Totally.
So
yeah, completely. Yeah,
it's worth hearing for sure. And it's not one that would be as fun to watch on YouTube, I don't think, because the graphics are very basic. They're very spritey, and it's not cinematic at all. Yes. It's all in the performances of the voice.
I liked the art style though.
Yeah,
it was. Cool. Yeah, it was charming. Yeah, but definitely worth playing.
All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps up the us talking about games portion of this episode. I mean, I guess we could talk more about plant-based diets, but I think I think it's time for us to do another roulette. So
that was our roulette game.
Last time was Oxenfree, which is what Elliot picked. So
no, it wasn't.
That was Stevo.
Oh, sorry. What Stevo picked? My bad.
Check my bad self.
So what's your next one, Stevo?
Okay, lads. I am going to throw a spanner in the works and pick something totally different from what I told you before we recorded. I'm going to go with Tacoma.
Yes.
All right.
Recently, a Twitch Prime free game. I was going to suggest you consider Tacoma, so I'm glad you picked it.
Okay. So we got Tacoma. All right. So
So I'm also since Rhyme, which I picked in January. It was like the first new game we added of the year, and now we're in July. I'm over it, kind of, and it's been long enough that I think I'm ready to pick a new game as well.
So, okay, Elliot picks Silent Hill.
No, I pick, since we all now have it, Titanfall 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Man's on the
I'm much
ball.
more excited to play that one.
And Josh, what had you picked last time, Matt?
I picked Beyond Two Souls since it was a PS Plus
nice.
free game last month. So I think I'll keep it on there for now. But I mean, I'm gonna roll it again. It's just we're not playing Titanfall 2. That's for sure.
I know. January, guys. I've had my game picked one time in all.
All right.
Okay, so a one is what, Josh?
A 1 is Beyond Two Souls, a 2 is Titanfall 2, and 3 is Tacoma. All right, here we go.
Tacoma it is. This should be a good one, lads. And
Tacoma!
It's not too long. It's by Fulbright, who created, of course, the highly acclaimed Gone Home.
Yep.
Tacoma is another, I believe, walking simulator. Based on a space station.
Yep.
It's meant to have a good story. I'm sure we'll have a great chat around it.
Yeah, it'll be another short story base.
Yeah, the combat's pretty good from what I hear. The race car, I think the bullet hell sections are a bit much, but we'll see how it goes.
He's being facetious.
I live right next to Tacoma. I can just go do that.
Yeah, just go do that, Josh. Sort it out. You should do the next podcast from there, live from Tacoma.
Help, get me out. I don't know. Based on me sitting in traffic the other day, I could have done recorded an entire podcast while sitting there.
I wonder how viable that would be sometimes.
Just get a lot of background noise with me, the cars yelling, and me yelling at people. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Hasn't come to that yet, but hopefully it won't. I think that'll wrap us up. We've gone on for long enough. If you haven't had enough of us yet, you can check us out at ratherbecast.com, our website. We're also on Twitter. You can follow our podcast updates when we have new episodes out. We always put it on at @RBPcast. Otherwise, we're all chatting on it on our own Twitter feeds @RBPJosh, @RBPElliot, and @RBPStevo. When we're not talking about games, we try to play games, and we stream them on twitch.tv/ratherbyplaying, and we'll put the video on demands. And every podcast episode goes up on our YouTube channel, which you can search for. We're also wherever podcasts are found. So feel free to grab us there, download us to your podcast app. And if you like it, leave us a little review. Leave us some comments. Give us some love. We appreciate it. Every little bit.
We like
helps.
love.
We do.
Love is nice.
And there was one more thing, and I have forgotten it.
Oh, it's tradition at this point, so forget it.
Oh, if you would like to join in on the discussion and send us any questions or anything you want us to talk about, we would be happy to read it on the cast. And you can email us at questions@ratherbycast.com.
If you have any recommendations for which section Elliot should forget to say next episode, we'll also take that. And
it's always one. It's always one.
You guys need to stream A Way Out. Go stream that.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make that our business. Elliot, when are you traveling?
Always.
So my parents are in town this weekend, and then I'm traveling the following weekend, and then DC the weekend after that. So
okay,
the next 3 weekends.
So let's try to do midweek this week at some point. Maybe
we should.
Maybe Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday evening, or a couple of those.
Yeah. So
either the day this goes up, or the next day, or the next day.
Let's do it the day this goes up.
Okay.
So if you're listening to this today on Tuesday,
tune in
to us streaming A Way Out.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys, it has been fun. Let's go enjoy this beautiful weekend weather.
Yes, indeed.
I'll get ready for my plane. See you guys around.
Curmudgeon.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Bye. Cheerio.